Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh my gosh, are we going to do 8 in a row? 8 Mike's Daily Podcasts in a row? That's insane. Is that allowed? Is that illegal?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Let me see what episode it is today on Mike's Daily Podcast. It could be something. I can't do this math. It's 2,260, 2260. Thank you for listening to the show. It's pretty nifty. And I guess we had lovely lady friend on the last podcast. That was very helpful.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And the lighting in this room is so interesting, as is this microphone that I have
Mike's
here at Cafe Anyway today.
Daily
Somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
Podcast.
So we have this wonderful issue today of trying to understand each other. Things to, you were trying to, if we could just give each other a little room to breathe, a little room to understand what we're saying to each other, we could all understand each other or crazy disagree with. How do you fix an argument between friends is what I'm asking. Do you have a friend that you just don't agree with? Oh my gosh, my friend is an anti-vaxxer and I don't agree with them. Or the opposite, my friend believes in getting the vaccine, I'm afraid of getting it. So even the best of friends argue sometimes. Arguments between friends can lead to hurt feelings, avoidance of one another, an increase in future conflict, and ultimately the breaking down of the friendship altogether. In order to mend the friendship, you may need to first address the problem or argument. It can hurt and be difficult, but luckily there are positive ways of dealing with arguments and conflicts, such as planning to fix the situation, utilizing conflict resolution skills, and using positive communication and reducing future conflicts.
And here's today's podcast picture.
That's right. You maybe don't agree with anything I just said, but maybe you do. Hey, I'm out of storage with my Mike's Daily Podcast at gmail.com email. Oops. That means I got to delete all these emails from Jack in the Box. I sure just wanted to keep all those Jack in the Box ads and for coupons that are long gone, but I guess I'm going to have to delete them. Because Gmail only gives you so much space unless you go crazy and pay for a bunch. Hey, I'm going to post a podcast picture from 3 years ago. My lovely lady friend went to Shasta. She's probably going to want to go to Shasta again real soon. Basil went to Shasta about a year and a half ago. It was a wonderful trip we had with him. Hey, somebody just texted me. Who's this a text from? This is exciting. Oh. Someone is texting me from... Okay.
Whoa. We love you, Mike.
Oh, that's right. We just had an earthquake. We just had an earthquake. That's right. I felt it just moments ago. At Cafe Anyway. It was kind of it felt like I was going somewhere, like I was on a truck driving somewhere. I'll post a picture of Mount Shasta. How about that? Didn't that used to be a volcano? That'll be perfect. My lovely lady friend took this picture 3 years ago. Whole lot of shaking going on. Okay, so we were discussing yesterday, my lovely lady friend and I, the amazingness of Chris Stapleton and his voice, and Nathaniel Ratcliffe, I think I said his name wrong. So planning to fix the situation, admit what went wrong if you're trying to fix an argument. In order to begin to solve an argument, you first need to understand what happened and develop some hypothesis about why it happened. This is crucial because you cannot solve a problem if you don't know what the problem is. Having a plan is one way to approach the situation with a clear head to reduce more arguments. Begin by looking at what happened from your perspective and thinking rationally about it, using both your rational mind and your emotional mind, but try to look at the situation objectively. Let's say you found out that your friend was talking negatively about you behind your back. Think about all the specifics of the situation. How did you find out? What did the person say? How did you handle it? In order to analyze the issue, it can be helpful to identify what led to the issue and what happened afterwards. Identify the antecedent, what happened before the conflict, behavior, what you did, and consequences, what happened as a result of the behavior. Let's imagine that the conflict began by you finding out that your friend is talking behind your back. That's the antecedent. And then you confronted your friend, which turned into a verbal argument. That's the behavior. Next, you and your friend stopped talking to each other for a week. That's a consequence. Know that some arguments are okay. Not all arguments are bad. It is okay to disagree with your friends sometimes and argue or debate about a topic. It is how you go about arguing that is important. Each person needs to be respectful and neither should be aggressive. That from WikiHow! Not some guy named WikiHow, although that would be a great name. It's actually the website called WikiHow. And I don't know what it is exactly. Like, I've never even tried to log on to WikiHow until today, but I did, and this is what I found out. So, fascinating, huh? Yes! WikiHow! WikiHow, how? Chicken around. In California, IA. In Podcastro Valley, Mont. Then, this article also says, when you're trying to fix a situation, you got to commit to change your actions. Try to analyze your own behaviors and thoughts about the situation. Think about the possibility of looking at the situation differently and talking and taking on another perspective. One way of doing things differently is thinking differently. Another way of doing things differently is changing your actions. If you confronted your friend about what you heard, can you identify a better way you could have approached the situation? Plan to express what made you upset. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Gather some ideas about what hurt your feelings or made the situation more difficult for you. Perhaps your friend called you a bad name and cursed at you, and this made you feel sad and angry. Identify specifically what your friend could have done differently. If your friend cursed at you, perhaps she or he could have lowered her, or them, or they, or what, could have lowered their, they, them, that, everybody, spoken calmly, voice, used words that were not hurtful or aggressive. Set up a place and time to talk. Avoid having a conversation about an issue over text, messenger, email, or phone. And someone's calling me, so I gotta jet for a second.
Later that day.
Oh, people are concerned about me and my house in Podcastro Valley because of the earthquake. I guess it happened in San Leandro. Crazy. Hey, so I think we pretty much finished that whole concept about not arguing with your friends or getting over arguments or working through it. A heart attack occurs when one or more of the arteries that feed your heart, the blood and oxygen, get completely blocked off by clot or plaque. This means that the affected parts of the heart will soon die if not treated in time or at a hospital. Of significance for women. According to the Heart and Stroke 2018 Heart Report, the early signs of a heart attack are missed in 78% of women, and their heart attacks are more fatal. Just think of that. Most guys, we know, hey, we're not going to live as long as women. We're probably going to die of a heart attack. Well, women, they're not immune from it, and this is due to the fact that the majority of heart research has focused on men. Sexist. Blood tests and electrocardiograms sometimes come out as normal because they were designed more for men's hearts. This leads to an inaccurate diagnosis of anxiety or heartburn. Some of the signs of a heart attack are often the same for men and women and may include chest and or upper body discomfort, sweating, shortness of breath, nausea, and or lightheadedness. However, women can have a heart attack without chest pressure. They may also experience the following symptoms: pressure or pain in the lower chest, jaw or upper abdomen, dizziness or faintness, upper back pressure, extreme fatigue, and these symptoms without crushing chest pain could be early signs that can recur weeks before an actual heart attack. When these signs occur, it is best to chew 160 milligrams of aspirin and call 911. Until more heart research on both sexes is funded, women, especially those with a family history of heart disease, need to be mindful of their symptoms because they know their bodies best. If something really doesn't feel right, women have to be more persistent with their doctors. In case of an incident that leaves an adult collapsed and unresponsive, you should follow these steps from the American Heart Association. For hands-only CPR, call 911, lay the patient on their back on a firm surface, check and clear their airways, put the heel of one hand over the center of the chest, then put the other hand on top of the first. Push down hard and fast, approximately 100 per minute at 2 inches deep until help arrives. Details about that at heart.org, and this was written in the Costco Connection from 2021, earlier this year, February of this year. So there you go. Be careful. We're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Look who is here at Cafe Anyway. Wow.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, Shift Shop Supervisor. Oh my gosh, that was really helpful. That information, because I'm a woman, Mike Matthews.
That's right, you are. And it's so good that you are listening to words I say. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I hope this microphone is sensitive enough to pick up my dulcet tones. It is. Because you built it. You made it. You made that microphone, John Deere, the engineer, because you're an engineer. Thanks, Mike Matthews. Yes. So nobody get heart attacks, nobody argue, and this world will be a better place. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Hopefully your house is still standing after all the shaking that went on today in the Bay Area. And hopefully you give me a call, 336-MM Daily, 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is in Mike Matthews, Daily is in what this podcast has been now for 8 days. Can't say it enough. Woo! So happy about that. Yes. So great. And check out the podcast picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. And that's it.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!